Good. So the wind is flowing with the rapid pace outside, but that should not be the excuse for us not to learn anything. Anyway, we cannot go outside as well. This is a kind of an atmosphere where anyone would like to go outside and have some bhajia and nasta and everything, but that's not possible as well due to this corona. Oops. Let's move ahead. And we were there into last time around. The equity shares, we had discussed the advantages and disadvantages of the equity shares as a source of finance. Then there was a one point related to the equity share which was pending to be covered. That was, if you can recall it, yes, that was the second last point. Dividends are paid from profit after tax, while interest on other finance is a tax deductible expense. And here is where my second source of finance starts. We'll keep on discussing this point in the second source of finance. Let's go to the term loans. Now, as we people are already aware, this is the borrowing we are taking from the financial institutions, from some other people, which carries a specific interest rate predefined well in advance. It carries a specific term of period pre-decided well in advance, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever the case it may be. Now, how any company will come to know that whether we should go with the loans or we should go with the equity? What should be the appropriate mix of both? That can be done only after we know what are the advantages and disadvantages of term loans. Let's go to the features of the term loan. Now, there can be a security, there may not be a security, but all the loans which are taken by you, they are unsecured in nature, carries a great amount of interest rates. So all the non-banking financial companies right now giving the loans to the businesses without taking any security, those loans are very, very risky in nature, and because of that, they also charge a great percentage of interest. Unsecured loans might be available to you right now for the business at 20%, 30% interest rates as well on per annum basis. But sir, there can be a security as well. No. Now, when it comes to a security, that means you put some asset under the custody of the person who is giving you the loans and borrowings. Now, my friend, when I'm using the word custody, that does not mean the possession. Custody and possession both are two different things, and that's why there are different kinds of securities. First one is the hypothecation. So the car loan you take, no, that is the best example of the hypothecation. You must have heard as well, that uh, you must have seen that the auto rickshaws and some of the vehicles which are taken on loan, it would be written over there that this vehicle is the hypothecated vehicle. That means the possession of using these goods, the possession remains with the person who is using these goods. That means the person who is taking the loan is enjoying the possession of that vehicle or that asset which has been hypothecated. But that asset is hypothecated asset. No person can sell that asset without taking the permission of the financial institution from whom you have taken the loans or borrowings. सर मैंने कार लोन ली थी, तो कार लोन पे किए बिना मैं कार को सेल कर सकता हूं? नहीं कर सकते। अगर कार को सेल करोगे तो सबसे पहले किसको पैसा देना पड़ेगा? जिसके पास से तुमने कार लोन ली है। So where the possession of the car is obviously the one who is the user, the consumer, like you and me. Then it comes to the pledge. The gold loans are the classic example of the pledge. In the pledge, my friends, the security, the asset, which is also called as the collateral, remains with the person who gives you the loan. So they take away the gold from you and then they offer you some loan. The ownership of the gold is not changed. You are the owner, but those ornaments and jewelries are kept by you as a security. Once you make the full payment of your loans and borrowings, those ornaments and securities would be returned back to you, my friend. That is called as the pledge. In hypothecation, the possession remains with the user, the person who takes the loan, while in the pledge, the possession remains with the person who gives you the loan, the financial institution. Then it comes to the mortgage, which is specifically applicable to the immovable property, land and building. Now there is no question of possession. No company can say that एक काम करो, मैं है ना तुम्हारी बिल्डिंग रख लेता हूँ, फिर तुम यहाँ पे रहने आना, जब तक लोन पे ना करो ना तब रखते हैं बिल्डिंग को तिजोरी में आपकी. पॉसिबल ही नहीं है ना. So building, land, which are immovable property, cannot be transferred from one place to another place, cannot be moved from one place to another place. They are called as the mortgage. But yes, they are kept as a security. You cannot sell your retail outlet. You cannot sell your residential or commercial property if you have taken the loan on it without taking the prior permission of that loan giver or the financial institution. Yes, you may do one thing. If you are selling it, then the first right to get the money back from that realized money is of the person who has given you the loan on it. सर फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन को सबसे पहले पैसे देना है, उसके बाद में बाकी सबको देना है. ओके. And on that as well, my friends, there can be a charges created, you know. So at some point of time, when the charges are created, collaterals are given as the fixed assets, and fixed assets are being possessed by you only right now. But there are certain loans taken on those fixed assets. That if you make any default in payment of loan, then those fixed assets would be seized from you and would be liquidated by that bank in the open haraji, you know, haraji auction. Now, there can be a charges created. Say the value of the fixed asset is 1 lakh. Then say you have taken the loan of 30,000. Then the first loan which has been taken on that asset would be having the first charge normally. So if your assets value, whatever the value you are receiving after the depreciation, you know, if that is being realized 70,000, then 30,000 would be given straight away to the person who is at the first charge. Then some of you might give you the loan at the second charge. That means obviously there would be a one first charge. From that 1 lakh rupees of asset, say after the depreciation and wear and tear, you realize 50,000 of rupees, then 30,000 would be first paid to the first charge, and rest 20,000 would be having on that money. The second charge person would be having the right. There can also be the equal charge among all this. So there can be a types of charge that depends on the terms with which you are agreeing to the financial institution. There can be an equal proportion of charge. You know, say that all the people who have given you the loan by taking that collateral asset is 130,000 rupees. My Brahmastra has stopped working. 130,000 rupees, and money which is realized from that asset when it got liquidated, say 60,000 rupees, then 60,000 rupees would be allocated on a pro rata basis. Pro rata basis means in proportion to what they have given us the loan. So in proportion to the loan amount which they have given us, this 60,000 would be distributed to them. That is also possible. So there can be equal charge, that can be first charge, that can be second charge. That depends on the types of agreement you are entering into with that financial institution. So there can be a hypothecation. Please everyone put it in the back of your mind. Hypothecation माने के the possession of the collateral asset remains with the person who is using it, remains with the loan taker, remains with the person who has taken the borrowings. In case of a pledge, the collaterals are in the possession of, are in the possession of the loan giver, not the loan taker. Gold loan is the classic example of the pledge. You deposit your gold to them, you remain the owner of that gold, but you will have to keep the custody of that gold with the loan giver, not with you. Now there are few modifications in that as well. You may keep the loans with you as well. If that has been kept in a locker in a bank account, then some of the agreements are entered by the loan givers that you will have to keep that gold in the bank account locker only, and the loan would be given to you, sanctioned to you on that. Then mortgage is related to the immobile property, land and building, or the combination of both. Now there comes the interest payment and principal payment. We have come to know about the interest payment and principal payment. Putting them together, we call it the equated monthly installment if it is paid on a monthly basis. And sir, if it is paid on some other time frame basis, then we may call it just a pure installment. So installments are paid. I'm not saying that all the loans are given to you on the installment. Some of the loans might be cumulative in nature, that you won't have to pay anything right now. Straight away, the full payment would be made by you after the 5 years. But those kind of loans are very rare in nature, not being offered to you. All the loans are coming up now with the installments, and every one of us is preferring to take the loan on monthly basis. So that's the widely followed frequency of the loan. Then there can be a restrictive terms. Now restrictive terms, I'm using the word there may be, there may not be. If Mukesh Ambani takes the loan, तो लोन मैनेजर विल कम टू द प्लेस ऑफ मुकेश अंबानी, वो ऐसे मीठे में से डाये डाये हाथ जोड़ के उनसे विनंती करेंगे कि सर आपको बिल्कुल उतरने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, ये रिस्ट्रिक्टिव टर्म रखने वाले हम कौन होते हैं, आप तो माई बाप हो। तो मुकेश अंबानी को अगर लोन चाहिए तो बैंक मैनेजर दौड़ा दौड़ा उनके पास आके घर का दरवाजा खटखटाएगा, और मुकेश अंबानी अगर प्रेजेंट नहीं भी होंगे तो वो 2-4 घंटे वहां पे राह भी देखेगा कि हमें आपको लोन देना है। लेकिन अगर अनिल अंबानी को लोन चाहिए तो बैंक मैनेजर वाले सोचेंगे कि ये भाई साहब की प्रॉपर्टीज को पहले सीज कर लेते हैं, पहले कोलेटरल क्रिएट कर देते हैं। एंड देयर वर सर्टेन impositions made by the loan givers, when Reliance Communication, which was majorly owned by Anil Ambani, it was taking more and more amount of debt when it was taking its last breath. At that point of time, there were various restrictions imposed on that company by the loan givers, that you cannot change your board of directors without taking our permission. How can you change any board of directors? No one can change. If you will have to change it, then you will have to take our permission first. Those kinda things can be imposed only at the time of default if it is a part of the agreement, first of all. Number two, it may be imposed right at the first moment of taking the loan. When you are taking the loan, at that point of time only those restrictions are imposed. But sometimes bank may not want to put these restrictions right away, straight away. They would want to put these restrictions only if you make the default in payment of loan. So that also depends on the type of agreement the company is entering into with the financial institution. There can be restrictions on reducing proportion of the debt from the capital structure. They would tell you that from your all the sources of finance, you will have to keep reducing the other debts, then only we would be keeping this loan amount with you. Otherwise, we would be telling you straight away that give us our loan back. So they may provide a schedule to you that you will have to keep reducing your debt amount from the entire capital structure. From other people you have taken the loans and borrowings, you'll have to keep reducing their amount as well. Otherwise, we'll be taking the loan amount back from you. So those kind of restrictions may be imposed. Periodic information to the financial institutions. अनिल अंबानी के भाई साहब की कंपनी के ऐसे बुरे हाल हुए थे कि उनको अगर कोई नया वाला बिजनेस भी शुरू करना है, उनको अगर नई वाली कोई सर्विस भी शुरू करनी है, तो भी उनको बैंक से परमिशन लेनी है। बैंक वाले बोलेंगे कि रुक भाई रुक, तेरे से कोई बिजनेस एक तो मैनेज हो नहीं रहा है, और ये बिजनेस में भी तूने अगर घाटा किया तो हमारा प्रेशर और बढ़ जाएगा, तो तुम बिजनेस भी हमसे पूछ के करोगे। ओ माय गॉड। रिस्ट्रिक्शंस ऑन गिविंग लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस। ये तो ऐसी बात हुई कि खुद के पास पैसे नहीं है, दूसरों के पैसे यूज करते हो और दूसरों को लोन देते हो। These are this kind of people who takes the money on donation and then they give the donation to other people. They borrow the money from someone and then give the donation to other people. No, 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 no. You cannot give the loans and advances to anyone without paying back our money to us. First of all, pay back our money to us, and then only the remaining amount would be there. You can make the payment to other people who wants to take the loans and advances from you. Restrictions on credit period of the debtors. So my friend, basically debtors is something to whom you are giving the credit, right, as a business. Now, if you will be giving them too much of credit for a long period of time, then there are chances of bankruptcy. There is always a high positive correlation between the term of period for the creditors and the bankruptcy and the bad debts. Higher you increase the term, and more you keep the term for the debtors, I mean for number of periods, number of days, higher and higher chances of the bad debts. That has been historically seen. Number two, more and more amount you keep with the debtors, more and more chances of making the bad debts, obviously. Now, in that case, the financial institution may impose a restriction on you that you may not be able to give the credit period to your debtors if you make the default in making the payment to us. That can be a part of the agreement of that loan. I hope you have understood the basic features of it. Securities, there may be, there may not be. Three types of securities: hypothecation, pledge, and mortgage. In case of the unsecured loans, obviously the interest rates are always higher than the secured loans, because they have got a security that if this asset is getting sold, the first money would be received by the bank and financial institution. But in the unsecured loans, they do not have any security. Obviously the interest rates would also be obviously very high. There can be interest payment and principal payment, EMI, basic feature we have seen in the loans. There may be a restrictive terms imposed by the banks and financial institutions, but that depends on the financial stability of the company. If company is the Mukesh Ambani kind of company, then there is no question of giving the loan to you. If the company is the Anil Ambani kind of company, then everyone would think about giving even a penny to you. Let's move ahead towards the advantages. May I have the confirmation from the students that we have got everything till now, all of you? Any questions or queries? Miss Veronica has said yes. Miss Hemali as well. Good. Mr. Mitesh too. Very good. Nice. Others? We'll be taking these things from a very practical perspective. Let's move ahead towards the advantages and disadvantages of it. So you'll be getting it in a better way. Let me just open one Excel file so that I can explain few things over there. Some people will be like, sir, आप तो कुछ भी पढ़ाते हो, Excel तो आ ही जाता है. तो मेरी मर्जी, मेरे को जहां पे भी लिखना हो. This is my virtual whiteboard, right now. Let me just remove this grid line so it will become the whiteboard for me. It is my new whiteboard. Okay, I could have used the Word as well. I could have used the PPT too. Why Excel? Because it gives me a wide screen, and some of the mathematical functions can also be done very easily. That's why. Okay. Now, the first advantage we have got for the loan is interest on debt is a tax deductible expense, while equity and preference dividend is paid out of profit after tax. Read it very carefully. This point is going to be very useful in some upcoming calculations related to the cost of finance as well. Try to understand this. Now, say you are taking the loan. So what you are supposed to pay to the financial institution? Interest. Interest, right? Then say this is your sales amount. This is your all the cost putting together, and interest is considered as an expense as per the Income Tax Act. Obviously, because that is the payment made to the outsiders because of the fact that you have taken the loan. So it's an expense for you. But dividend is not considered as an expense as per the income tax because it is just a redistribution of the income to the owners. If the owners are if the owners are taking back some amount of money from the business, can it be called as a expense? It cannot be called, right? Very basic common sense. So income tax will not give you the deduction for the dividend, but it will give you the deduction for the interest. So say you have the interest of 10 as well. So your profit before tax reaches to 40. So you will be making the payment of taxation on this 40 rupees. Say the tax is 30%. That is on the profit before tax as per the income tax. Now I'm taking a very layman example. There are various complications related to the deductions availability in the Income Tax Act. Those people who have learned the income tax from me, I guess this students, Daksh and Gaurav have also learned the income tax as well. So there are various complications related to availability and non-availability of the deductions. Not going into that as of now. So 30% on the profit before tax. Now, my friend, 30% on 40, that means you will be paying the tax of 12, and the profit after tax will be 28. That can be straight away taken to reserves and surpluses. ये ब्रह्मास्त्र को क्या हुआ है आज? हाँ, surpluses in the balance sheet. ब्रह्मास्त्र है ना, ब्रह्मास्त्र आज भाव खा रहा है. क्या कर रहा है? भाव खा रहा है. Okay. So, sir, 28 rupees would be going to the financial statements as a reserves and surplus. That would be the internal accrual of the company. These funds would be gathered by a company, may be kept for further business and expansion. And if company wants to distribute some amount of dividend from it, then the rest of the money would be transferred to the reserves and surplus. Say 10 rupee would be distributed as a dividend to the equity shareholder, then 18 rupees would be transferred to reserves and surplus. Now that is the case of loan. Now let's take the case of equity. Say you are not taking a loan, but the entire money you have sought from the equity only. So there is 100 rupees of sales, then say 50 rupees is the expense as it is, whatever the expense was. Now this dividend is not considered as an expense. Dividend is not considered as an expense. So you have the profit before tax of 50. Now, my friend, you will be making the tax payment at 30% on profit before tax. So that will come as 15. So my friend, you would just have 35 rupees now. Now say here in that case the equity dividend was 10. Suppose there are equity shares as well, existing equity shares, and you are paying 10 rupees of dividend to them, just like in the earlier case we had. So the money will be transferred to reserves and surplus will just be 25. In the earlier case, the money which you had transferred was much higher, 28, if you're not making any payment of dividend from that. So my friend, what I'm trying to say to you is that the tax payment made by in the second one is 15, and the tax payment made by you in the first one is just 12. And that additional 3 rupee of tax you are paying, it is only because of one is considered as an expense and another one is not considered as an expense. So I can say that by making the interest payment, you are saving 3 rupees in the tax, because if interest payment is made, higher will be the expense. If the higher would be the expense, then profit before tax would be lower, and lower will be the profit before tax, lower will be the tax. But my friend, this same benefit is not there if you are taking the equity, because equity dividend you pay on the equity is never taken as an expense, because it is just a distribution of the profits. तो सिंपल सी भाषा में ये है कि इंटरेस्ट का बाद मिलता है, तो इंटरेस्ट का अगर इनकम टैक्स में से बाद मिलता है तो आपका टैक्स भी हो जाएगा कम. तो एक्चुअल कॉस्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट is not what percentage you are paying as an interest. The actual cost of interest is the after tax adjustment interest you are paying to the financial institution. So first thing that you have got from this example is that there is a saving in tax because of interest. So sir, what is the post tax interest rate? The post tax interest rate can be found like interest rate multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. So interest rate, say for example, is 10%. So I'm writing 0.10 multiplied by, say the tax rate is 30%. So 1 minus 0.3. So equal to 0.10 multiplied by 0.7. So that comes to 0.07. So that is basically the 7% interest rate. Now you will be always taking the advantage of the taxation when it comes to the cost of finance of loans. That taxation benefit is available only in case of the loans and borrowings, that is not available in case of any other source of finance. Your actual cost is just a 7%, because anyway, if you wouldn't have paid that interest, you were supposed to pay the income tax on the higher amount of profit before tax. So because of the fact that you are paying the interest, you are taking some savings, you are doing some savings in the taxation. That's why your effective post tax interest rates is always interest rate multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. Is it clear? So that is the advantage of the biggest advantage of the term loan when it comes to the taxation benefit. Confirmation from the students, please. Any queries or any question till now? सब कुछ समझ में आया taxation benefit? Miss Titli said yes, good. Others? Mr. Duck says well, good. Even a little bit of a confusion, let me know. Miss Veronica is saying yes, good. Let's move ahead. Then the second advantage of the term loan is it does not result into dilution of control. Unlike the equity shares, they are not the owners of the company. They cannot change the board of directors until and unless they are allowed to do so as per the agreement of loan. Generally, no company would be having any interference of the banks and financial institutions who are giving you the loan. So that does not result into dilution of control. The major decisions which are to be passed will be passed only in the annual general meeting, and only equity shareholders can vote in those resolutions. So dilution of the control is never in a question when it comes to the loan and borrowings. Payment limited to interest and principal. Now, my friend, what happens is that equity does not involve the fixed percentage of the payment. We are aware about it. That equity, may you make the payment of the dividend or you may not pay the dividend. That is the discretion of the company. But sir, when the company will be making a profit, when the company will be expanding slowly and steadily, at that point of time, the expectations of the equity is always getting increased. They would demand more and more amount of dividend. अरे ओ रौनक सर, आपने तो इस बार बहुत प्रॉफिट किया, चलो हमारा डिविडेंड बढ़ा दो। और रौनक सर ने बिल्कुल भी वहां पे किचकिच किया तो रौनक सर को वो चेंज कर देंगे। हम है आपके ऑनर, आप तो सिर्फ वहां के सीईओ है, कल से आप सीईओ नहीं रहेंगे, टाटा बाय बाय, सी यू, आवजो। नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन if you do not make the payment of dividend to them? They have right to change the board of directors. They may change it. Now obviously, in majority of the situations, the companies want to grow, right? And all the companies are doing the business to grow. So the expectations are not kept limited for the equity shareholders. They will keep on getting increased over a period of time. जैसे ही तुरंत थोड़ा सा प्रॉफिट बढ़ा तो बोलेगा हमारा डिविडेंड बढ़ा दो, जैसे ही तुरंत थोड़ा सा प्रॉफिट इंक्रीज हुआ हमारा डिविडेंड बढ़ा दो। क्या हमारा डिविडेंड बढ़ा दो? मांगने आ जाते हैं दो दो हाथ लेके। Now whether to pay a dividend or not, that is altogether a different matter. We'll see in the fourth module the magnitude of making the payment of dividend, the impact of dividend on the share prices. There are financial models. We'll discuss those models in the fourth module. बट इंटरेस्ट में क्या है मालूम है? तूने इंटरेस्ट लिया था 5 लाख रुपए का, इन लोन लिया था, और उसके ऊपर से मतलब 5,000 रुपए का इंस्टॉलमेंट पे करना। नाउ whatever the income of the company would be, company is growing further and further and further and further and further, the interest and installment amount is going to remain same, only 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. They have the fixed obligation to receive some money. You have the fixed obligation to give some money. It is not changed over a period of time. The rate of interest might be variable. I'm not saying that the rate of interest is not variable. In some of the situations, the rate of interest can be variable. When you take the home loan, the two options are generally given to you, that whether you want to take the home loan at the fixed rate or you want to take it at the variable rate. And variable rate is getting fluctuated with the RBI's bi-monthly repo rate policy. So whenever the RBI changes the repo rates, some changes would take place in the interest rates as well. So they are taking the base of repo rate and then some spread would be added by a bank, and that would be considered as your variable interest rate over a period of time, and it will get changed on time to time basis whenever the RBI will be making some changes into the repo rates. But those conditions and everything is known to you right in advance, right? That this is a variable interest rate. So it's always better to have the fixed obligation sometime when you are aware that you are going to anyway grow. Because if we'll be growing, then equity shareholder will keep on increasing their expectations. We want more dividend, we want more dividend, we want more dividend. और इनको तो कोई बेचारे बैंक इंस्टीट्यूशन फाइनेंशियल वाले तो कुछ आने वाले है नहीं. किसी ने बोला आपको आके कभी, ओ माय गॉड गौरव तू तो बहुत कमाने लगा, चल मेरे को ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट दे दे. अब कोई नहीं बोलेगा. इट्स अ फिक्स्ड. Maturity of a loan can be synced with the period for which the firm needs funds. Now say company is expanding its business. Now company knows that after 5 years it would be able to generate enough number of money, enough funds from this business, but right now they do not have the money. So they require the funds only for 5 years. Then they may take loan only for 5 years. But if you issue the equity shares for the money you require only for the 5 years, they are the permanent source of finance. They are permanently infused and they will keep on making the changes in the company as per their requirement. उनके पास तो कंट्रोल आ गया, वोटिंग राइट आ गया, वो परमानेंटली आ जाएगा तुम्हारे सिस्टम में. तो बेटा अगर तुम्हें 2 साल के लिए पैसे चाहिए तो किसी को परमानेंटली तुम एंटर करोगे कंपनी के अंदर. अच्छा है लोन ले लो भैया. So you require the money only for limited frame of time, then that limited frame of time can be synced with the period of loan, and that loan will be repaid right within that 5 years, and after that you won't be having any obligation to pay the money. But the equity shareholders are permanently there in your company. The cost of issue of loan and debt is significantly lower than the preference and equity capital. In equity capital, if it is a public company and those shares are listed in the Bombay Stock Exchange or the National Stock Exchange, then the procedure of issuing that shares is such a complicated thing that you will be moving in a round and round and round and round and round and round. You take the permissions from the Securities of Exchange Board of India. You take the permission from the registrar of the companies. You come up with your offer document. That offer document will again be approved by the SEBI and the registrar of the companies. Then you appoint the merchant banker. Then you appoint the underwriters. Then you decide the price at which you should be issuing the shares. Then you decide the amount of issue of your shares. Then there would be an allocation process that will be done. Then the shares would be listed in the company and then you will finally receive the money. Now that is such a big complicated exercise. You require the technical expertise of so many people in that. So obviously you will have to pay the interest, the commissions and brokerages and all the cost to them as well, right? So the cost of issue is always higher in the equity and lower in the debt. In a debt, you just go to the financial institution. They will tell you that the loan will be sanctioned if your financial position is strong. You will have to just submit your financial statements. And if we are satisfied with your financial situation, we would be straight away sanctioning the loan, and the loan amount would be credited in your account just in 2 or 3 days after sanctioning the approvals. Fixed percentage debt provides the protection against the high inflation. Try to understand this point, my friend. Now, what is the real interest rate? The real interest rate is always the actual interest rate minus inflation rate. That has been explained in a very layman language. Try to understand why. Now say you are doing the business. You are doing the business to sell some services or some goods, right? Now, if there is an inflation rate, which is the Mongwari rate, the prices of the services and goods are getting increased because of some inflationary factors. Now, my friend, the actual interest rate you pay, That is not the real interest you have, because your prices are also getting increased, no? So say your prices are getting increased by 7% of whatever the sales you are doing, and you will be making the fixed percentage of interest of 9% on the loan you have taken. So the real interest rate is just a 2%. Because obviously you are doing the business to sell the goods and services. The money you will be receiving now for goods and services would be increased by the inflation rate, right? Because whatever the inflation rate that is applicable to the entire economy, that will be applicable to you as well. If the prices of the goods and commodity which you are receiving are increased, then the prices of the goods and commodities which you are selling are also increased, right? So obviously there would be some percentage of the effect on the profitability too. So it is always favorable to take the loan at fixed percentage interest when the inflation is too uncertain, or I may say too high. If you feel that in upcoming number of years the inflations are going to be skyrocketing high, then you should be taking the fixed percentage of the obligation in terms of the interest, because you know that you are doing the business. The prices of the goods and services will also be proportionately increased in terms of the inflation. So it gives you the protection when you have the high inflation rate. So some people always comes to me and say that, that sir, in when the UPA 2 government was there, no, at that point of time, we were getting the 9% of the interest on the fixed deposit. And now we are getting only 7% of the interest on the fixed deposit. So fixed deposit rates are reduced. But my friend, are you aware about the fact that what was the inflation rate at that point of time? The inflation rate in the UPA 1 and UPA 2 government was on an average basis 8 to 9%. So even if it is 8%, if you consider, and right now the wholesale price index and the retail price index, if you consider for a few number of months, no? Now let's do not take this corona period into account, because that is something which is a very extraordinary situation. The dynamics of economics and every rates and everything have changed drastically after the corona. But before that, if you take the comparison, then it was somewhere around 3 to 4%. So what is the effective rate you have got on the fixed deposit? 1% when there was a high inflation rate. And here you have got 3%. You can interpret it in this way, like say you are getting the interest of 9%, but the goods and services are now becoming more and more costly by 8%. So effectively your money is increased only by 1%. But now in this government, even if you are getting 7% of the interest on fixed deposit, and if you have just the inflation rate of 3 to 4%, then the effective addition in your money is about 3%. So this is how the decisions are to be taken. People fail to understand the basics of economics, and then they comment like हमारा तो फिक्स डिपॉजिट रेट है ना वो कम हो गया. अरे मेरे भाई, इंटरेस्ट रेट भी तो कम हुआ है, वो तो देख. इन्फ्लेशन भी तो कम हुआ है, वो तो देख. तुम्हारा एक्चुअल परसेंटेज ऑफ रिटर्न है वो बड़ा है, लेकिन इसका द एग्जैक्ट थिंग इज एप्लीकेबल व्हेन यू आर टेकिंग द लोन. When it is high inflation, then you would like to put yourself in a fixed obligation of say 8% of interest, because you are supposed to pay only 8%. And because of the fact that there is a high inflation, the prices of goods and services will get increased, right? And if the prices of the goods and services will get increased, then your profitability also increases. Because in spite of the fact that there is a price elasticity of the demand, but some of the necessity goods are there which will not be having too much of elasticity in demand, even though their price is increased by some percentages. If I give you one simple example, say you are selling the potatoes, right? And say those potatoes were available at the 5 rupee per kg, and the demand of that entire potato and the supply from your side was say 80 kg on a daily basis. Now, even if the prices of this 5 rupee of potato reaches to 20 rupees per kg, then I don't think there would be too much of effect on the demand, because it is a good which is of necessity. Instead of 80, obviously your per day consumption might get reduced to say 60. But can you imagine the amount of profit additionally you are making because of this? That's why you must have heard from the businessman. My father also tells me, he's also a businessman in the retail kirana store he is having, grocery store. that जब prices बढ़ती है ना, तब धंधा करने में मजा आता है. What is the reason behind it? Because see, when you are selling 80 rupees potato at 5 kg, 80 kilo potato as 5 kg, what was the revenue you had? 8 multiplied by 4, so your revenue you had was 400 rupees, right? Say the profitability margin from that 400 rupees is 10%, then what was the profit you are making? 40 rupees. But sir, when we are selling 60 kg at 20, then what is the revenue you are generating? 60 multiplied by 20, so 1200 rupees. And if the profitability margin is kept at 10% only, then from 1200 you are generating 10%, so you get 120 rupees as the profit. जब prices बढ़ती है तो business owners के लिए फायदा है. Yes, it is exactly reciprocal with the demands of consumers. Consumers will have to pay so much of money now because of this. But that is beneficial to the business houses, to the organizations who are doing the business, because this demand will not be fluctuated by much. People will not stop consuming the potatoes just because of the fact that prices have reached to 20. Yes, there would be some effect on it. I'm not saying that there won't be any effect, but they will not altogether just stop spending anything on the potatoes. Are you getting my point? So now in this case, my friend, if the inflation is too high, so at that point of time, you would like to take the fixed interest loan. Because loan, you have taken the fixed interest. You are supposed to pay only that much of an interest percentage on the loan. But the prices that are getting increased in your goods and services which you are selling, that is giving you the tremendous amount of additional benefits. Now say if there would have been the equity instead of the loan, then if you are making the additional profit, then equity shareholders will always come to you and say, ओ मारे भाई इतना ज्यादा प्रॉफिट कर लिया, इधर आओ इधर आओ इधर आओ, चलो हमें भी थोड़ा सा प्रॉफिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दो, डिविडेंड, चलो चलो. लेकिन ये लोन वाले आके बोलेंगे आपको, नहीं कहेंगे. Similarly, this becomes the disadvantage when the inflation rate is too low and you have the fixed interest loan. Say the fixed interest loan is 10% and the inflation rate is just a 2%. Then what will happen? Now, your effective cost of interest is 8%. The prices of your goods and services are increased only by 2% in a yearly basis. So you are making a lot of payment of the interest out of that, which is the fixed obligation for you. And in case of the deflationary conditions, when the inflation is negative, the prices are getting reduced. Yes, there are certain advanced economies where there are deflationary conditions established. You take the example of Japan, you take some Denmark. Some of the banks in the Europe, Specifically, if I talk about one of the banks in Denmark, there was a case study I had taken in one of my classes. They had the negative interest rate on the mortgages. So that means if you take the loan from them, no, they will give you the interest on that loan. You have heard it right. Negative interest rate on the mortgages you take. You may study that further. You may check it, the negative interest rate in the Denmark bank. So in that kind of situation, if you have the fixed interest loan of 8%, it would be disadvantage for you. So when the inflation rate would be too low, the fixed interest loan is a disadvantage for you. When the inflation rate is too high, the fixed interest rate is an advantage for you. May I have the confirmation on this point, please? It had required a bit of the economics knowledge, but I have clarified that too. Confirmation, please, all of you. Okay, from Mr. Vishal, I have got Daksh, Veronica, very nice. Nice to see. Miss Hemali as well, good. Okay, and I would be completing this by just telling you one my personal story, very funny story. Uh, when we were very young, the children. So at that point of time, we used to go to one river. My native place was Talalagir. You might have heard about it, which is also considered as the home for the Asiatic lions. Now, all the friends of mine, we used to go over there at 5 o'clock on a daily basis at one river, and there were some plain grounds. Over there we were playing the cricket as well. So we used to meet over there to play the cricket, to go over there at the river and enjoy the nature and everything on a daily basis. Now there was one friend of mine who was very fatty. I can recall this example. He was very fatty. Now he could hardly walk properly. The struggles that he was facing in running cannot be explained by me. Now there was one canal from nearby that river. From that river, the one connection was given in that canal, and the waters were being transmitted to the farms at the nearby places. Now that canal was having the width somewhere around 10 feet, and that fatty was there on that cycle, and suddenly one dog came, and he started barking at that fatty person, and he started running behind, and that fellow started running. और उसके पीछे जैसे ही कुत्ता दौड़ा, वो एकदम से दौड़ने लगा, इतना ज्यादा दौड़ा, and we were just surprised, that ये बंदा जो उठ नहीं सकता, जो चल नहीं सकता, वो इतना जल्दी दौड़ कैसे रहा है. एंड यू वोंट बिलीव कि उसने वो 10 फीट की जो कैनाल थी ना, उस कैनाल को क्रॉस कर दिया. 10 फीट की कैनाल को उसने क्रॉस कर दिया जंप मार के. एंड वी कुडंट इवन इमेजिन कि ये इतना फैटी बंदा, उसके पीछे कूदता दौड़ा, द डॉग वाज बार्किंग बिहाइंड हिम, he could cross the entire canal of the 10 feet, which was just beyond the imagination of us. Now today I analyzed that situation. I had come to know that some people start performing well जब उनके पूंछ के पीछे आग लगती है. When you have the dog barking behind you, then you start performing well. When I was working as the insurance manager in one of the companies called Birla Sun Life Insurance, I was the training manager over there. So at one point of time, my sales were not very good, So I had asked to my manager, who is the branch manager, I said that, see, in spite of putting too much of efforts, I am not able to generate the good amount of sales from my team. What could be the reason behind it? He said that, take the home loan. I said, what? He said, take a home loan. I said, what kind of a solution you are offering to me? Then he said that, see, I do not have any questions related to your talent and skill and how you are reaching out to people in terms of the sales. But there would be some problems related to the dedication and determination you have right now for the sales. You take some loan. Now, when you will be having the installment amount, at the back end, you will be start performing well. And he showed me a data of some of his employees that, see, after taking the loan, see the performance of that guy. After taking the loan for the personal uh, purposes of his daughter's marriage, take the performance of this guy. And I was quite shocked to see that the performance of everyone got increased once they had the fixed obligation to perform, because they were anyway supposed to take this money from any sources, whether there was a corona or no corona, whether they are performing good or bad, whether they have the good situation right now or bad situation, they were supposed to take this money out. They were supposed to perform. And when they had the fixed obligation, they were performing better than the other employees. That was been observed. My friend, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes the loan results into the discipline effect on the management of the firm, because of the fact that you have the due payments to be done, you have got the fixed obligation to make, you will be performing better now. At least that much of performance you will have to do to cover up your amount of loans and installments. That brings the discipline effect. There were certain research papers also published by some of the renowned names in the finance fraternity, that how the loan is resulting into a disciplining effect in the overall behavior, money spending behavior of a firm. दो तरीके के लोग होते हैं. एक लोगों के पीछे जो आग लगती है ना तो दौड़ते हैं, दूसरे लोग इंसेंटिव वाले लोग होते हैं, जिनको तुम हड्डी दिखाओ तो दौड़े दौड़े आते हैं. लेकिन ज्यादातर लोग है ना, इंक्लूडिंग माई सेल्फ, आर दोज पीपल जिनके पीठ के पीछे अगर आग लगती है तो दौड़ने लगते हैं. So there can be a disciplining effect because of this higher amount of loan you are taking. Easier for management to communicate the important information to private lenders than to public in capital markets. The number of people to whom you are communicating when it comes to the loans, they are very less in numbers, banks and financial institutions. So there is very less chance of misinterpretation or the miscommunication, because they are less in numbers. You can convey whatever the requirement you have. So if some changes are taking place in a business, you may just convey them, and then you may just convince them that these changes are taking place. You shouldn't be worrying much about yourself. No interest payments would be defaulted. But when equity shares are there, then it is very difficult to give the right message to them because they are quite large in numbers. So if some changes are taking place in the business, in some of the years, say the companies have not performed well, then equity shareholders, we would just straight away keep selling the shares of the company, and there can be, the market price crash. There can be a speculation because equity shareholders are large in numbers. They can be manipulated by the rumors. They can be manipulated by the grapevines. Some of the things might be misinterpreted, miscommunicated to them, knowingly, unknowingly. Then it's always easy to have the less number of people to whom you can have the good interaction. So if company is not doing well in some of the periods, you can straight away tell it to the banks and financial institutions that you shouldn't be worrying much. We are doing well. In some number of years anyway, we are going to recover back. But the same is not possible when there are many equity shareholders, right? So that is also the advantage of the term loan finance. The disadvantages we'll discuss in the next session. May I have the last confirmation that everything is been well received by you, all of you? Bye bye, take care, sayonara. Please put your enrollment number, guys, and then you may discuss from the session. Bye bye. Thank you.